John Cena's final match takes place on Saturday, December the 13th, 2025. Before we wabba-do-the-do one more time, let's five-knuckle shuffle back 23 years to June of 2002 and John Cena's first televised WWE match. Before he was a doctor of thugonomics, John Felix Anthony Cena was looking at becoming a doctor of bodybuilding in Los Angeles. It was whilst working at a Gold's Gym that he was invited to try out this malarkey known as wrestling, something Cena thought he could maybe turn into a sick-ass hobby, to quote the man himself. It was this train of thought that took John Cena to Rick Bassman's Ultimate Pro Wrestling, and it's there, under the name The Prototype, he fell in love with the graps. The Prototype was quite the specimen, as you can see, and within 18 months of his very first bump at wrestling training under the watchful eye of Bassman, he'd stepped into a then WWF ring, competing in dark matches that we couldn't see. Prototype was Vince McMahon's type, that's for sure, and before long he had signed a WWF developmental contract. It took him from the shadow of the Hollywood sign to the shadow of the Louisville Slugger Bat to compete in WWF's official proving ground, the world-famous Ohio Valley Wrestling. John joined the ranks of a star-studded OVW roster with the likes of Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, the future Dave Bautista, and David Flair. He'd fly up said ranks and become OVW heavyweight champion by early 2002. Not a surprise when you look at the guy. It was clear that John wouldn't spend too much time in the Valley of Ohio, so to speak, already earmarked as a future prospect for WWE. And the timing of this couldn't be any better. It was perfect because let me quickly give you a snapshot of how things were looking in WWE in 2002. Wasn't the brightest of times for the company. We were in the very soggy afterglow of both the Attitude Era and a very rushed WCW Invasion storyline. Attendance is down, revenue is down, buy rates are down, and the company are having the smack laid down on them by football fans over Vince McMahon's attempt at a football league and by the World Wildlife Fund over the use of the name WWF, with the Panda people winning a multi-million-dollar court battle that forced the McMahon Empire to get the F out. Speaking of getting the F out, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin have done just that. Hollywood commitments for one, a major blow-up over creative apathy for the other. With gaps in the roster becoming chasms, McMahon gathered the active WWE locker room and challenged them on a live episode of Monday Night Raw to step up to the plate and prove themselves worthy of being the next main eventers. WWE needed stars who had something special, who had ruthless aggression. And this brings us to WWE SmackDown, recorded for June 27th, 2002, in the All-State Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. Dark Match John had no idea when he arrived at the All-State that day that he was going to be on TV that night. You see, Cena had been on the road with WWE in the weeks leading up to this. He'd been wrestling the likes of Crash Holly and Tommy Dreamer and Albert at house shows and live events, and before the cameras got switched on at television tapings. So that was kind of where he was at career-wise at this point. That day, John arrived, ugly ring gear at the ready, and expected to work once more a pre-show match before the cameras switched on. It was at 2:45 p.m. roughly that day, just a few hours before the venue doors opened, that John Cena was informed by WWE agent Michael Hayes that he would be making his on-screen WWE debut that night, taking on an open challenge thrown out by Kurt Angle. Now, at this point, Angle was the main star on SmackDown. He was coming off a feud with Edge, which had seen Kurt Angle get his head shaved bald, and a feud with Hollywood Hulk Hogan as well, in which he had made the immortal Hulk Hogan submit. So this wasn't just any old debut. This was a debut against a feature star of one of WWE's flagship shows and one of the best wrestlers that WWE has ever known. As he had done with Edge, lifting a mid-card star further up, Kurt Angle was planning to host an open challenge on this episode of SmackDown as a device to do the same and debut a brand new WWE superstar. Now, other OVW stars chosen to do the loop with the main roster at this point included a pre-Team Angle Shelton Benjamin and future French sympathizer Rob Just Look at Me Conway. On this night, though, John Cena was the chosen one, as he found out mere hours before SmackDown went live. Once informed of his plans, Cena was taken to the office of Vince McMahon to receive any creative direction or guidance on his appearance. On WWE's YouTube channel, John Cena recalled his first meeting with Vince McMahon here, and when Michael Hayes brought John Cena in front of the chairman in the chairman's office and asked what Vince would like done with him aesthetically, Vince's answer was short and simple: cut his effing hair. Only he didn't say effing. So how did we get to the John Cena debut on screen? Well, SmackDown opens with Mr. McMahon introducing Kurt Angle, still riding high from making Hulk Hogan tap out just a few nights prior at King of the Ring. Angle, having declared himself the poster boy for ruthless aggression, invited any future superstar in the locker room that he has never wrestled before to come out and face him, potentially becoming an overnight sensation as well. The challenge was eventually accepted by plucky newcomer John Cena, with the SmackDown theme, The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson, playing him to the ring in underwhelming fashion. John Cena introduces himself, and Angle asks what quality he possesses that makes him think that he can come out and face one of the best. Cena's answer, echoed through history, was simple: ruthless aggression. One hard slap across the face, and a flurry of strikes later, the bell rang, and John Cena's WWE TV debut was well and truly underway. The match took place at a breakneck speed, for reasons that we will get into, as Cena's initial dominance got shut down by a series of German suplexes from Kurt Angle. Angle took the breath from Cena with a long front face lock. Cena powered up and powered back in, which the crowd responded to with some light cheers and some mild indifference. Watching it on screen, you might think that the audience were far into this than their faces and arms down by their side let on. That is the power of post-production. John Cena avoids an ankle lock and gets a couple of 2 counts on the Olympic gold medalist. Doesn't quite get the job done. After a litany of pin attempts, Kurt Angle catches John Cena in a double underhook roll-up and gets the 1, 2, 3 on the upstart. Angle wins, Cena down for the 3-second tan. Post-match, John Cena, who got to his feet before Kurt Angle, offered a handshake to the man who just out-wrestled him. Angle, who shot a look like John Cena had taken a dump on his kitchen table, refused the offer and left the ring. Kurt was dumbfounded when Cena got into the poised position, ready for round 2. And he even started to walk back towards the ring as if he was going to give Cena another hide-in, but ultimately he decided against doing that. After the break, we see John Cena backstage getting showered with praise by SmackDown stars like Farouk and Billy Kidman, but they scatter like pigeons in an underpass as The Undertaker appears. Cena stares down Taker and almost does a cartoon-style gulp in his presence. Taker, in his biker gang era, asks John Cena what his name is before shaking his hand and congratulating him on a job well done. This moment, whilst designed to galvanize John as a major main roster player, was also part of Undertaker's slow burn turn from dastardly booger red bad guy to patriotic zombie babyface with a bike. With that, SmackDown rolls on, and John Cena has officially put his feet under the table, metaphorically. He is on the SmackDown roster. John Cena reflected on his WWE debut recently and was very open about how much he hated it. Cena spoke really candidly on WWE's YouTube channel where he watched the match back. He felt the pace left the fans in the arena somewhat disinterested. He believed it was executed the way it was to try and wear him out rather than make him a star, a sort of passive-aggressive backstage hazing. This was confirmed by Kurt Angle, who told Inside the Ropes that he did indeed set out to wear out Cena, but to his shock and dismay, he was unable to do that on this night, as John Cena was able to keep up with Kurt Angle every single step of the way. Cena, in hindsight, also takes great exception to his character's motivations on that night, offering to shake Kurt Angle's hand after slapping him at the start of the segment. And then Cena showing a little bit of fear upon meeting The Undertaker sent a lot of conflicting messages to the fans about John Cena's persona, which he felt made it impossible to make a connection with them. Cena is genuinely quite frustrated in the video on WWE's YouTube channel, where he reflects on his debut. He decries the lack of follow-up on that first match that ultimately left him circling the drain and close to getting his release from WWE just a few months later. An unfathomable moment, only saved by a cheeky bit of freestyle rapping at the back of the tour bus, which was overheard by Stephanie McMahon. Of course, the rest of that story is well-trodden history. Cena isn't enamored with how he was featured in his first foray. However, him using his final night as a WWE superstar to shine a spotlight on younger talent with NXT versus WWE exhibition matches forming a big part of the evening's card, he understands that regardless of how it went, the ends justify the means. John Cena's final act may see an all-new star born, a star showcasing ruthless aggression. And if all that fails, they can always bust out a freestyle on the back of a tour bus. Stephanie McMahon might just hear it. Stay safe and love you, bye.